Bella, www.dream. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Melissa Renee with Bella Minded. And before we get into the video today, I want you to first subscribe to my YouTube, okay? And you press that notification button so you can be notified whenever I put up a new video. And if you also subscribe to my website, www.bellaminded.com, you will also be the first to get notification and updates on blogs, vlogs, projects, and etc. So make sure you go and do that. And let's go ahead and get into this video. So what's up? We're going to get into this video today. And the video we're going to get into today is Black community being blamed for no acceptance, or shunning other Black people, or I guess making other Black people not feel like they're Black enough to be a part or feel a part of the Black community. This comes from reading an article that is actually an article from like a year ago with XONecole, and it was a write-up about Willow Smith, and she was speaking on how she felt shunned from the Black community because I suppose she doesn't get the media attention, or she doesn't get the public support with her endeavors and the things she has going on, as well as don't see the same type of embrace with her family. Now, she's not the first person I've heard say this and make this statement. A little while before, I remember the Alfonso Ribeiro statement was going around where he spoke on how he felt like he was shunned and wasn't accepted with the Black community because he was married to a white woman. Now, I'm going to be real with you right now. I had no clue Alfonso Ribeiro was married, let alone to a white woman, you know. But hey, maybe it's somebody out there who's representing the Black community who is around here shunning people and accepting people. Maybe they are the Willy Wonka of the Charlie Chocolate Factory, and they're handing out gold tickets, which tells you whether you have got your Black card revoked. I mean, have y'all seen them? Because I haven't. If you by chance see them, tell them we want to talk. We want to know why they're going around here handing out these acceptance, you know, tickets, and not letting us know. I want some say so. I want to be able to say who is going to be a part of the Black delegation or not. And I will vote. I would definitely vote Willow in, and I would definitely vote Alfonso Ribeiro in. I mean, come on, who else is going to do a Carlton? Let's be real, okay? Oh, all right. And I loved Whip My Hair Back and Forth. I thought it was a nice little bop, where I can understand their sentiments of not feeling like they are embraced by the Black community. I also feel like that is not necessarily the Black community who they're necessarily trying to find the acceptance from. Now, one thing I like about that article with the author who wrote for the XONecole, I like the fact that she brought the perspective in to say, you know, well, wait a minute, you saying it's the Black community, but from what I'm hearing you say, the Black community doesn't have a lot of influence when it comes to what's going to be represented and portrayed on the big screens and in the mainstream that shows this culture of Black people. We honestly, first of all, aren't even the majority when it comes to the population. So we do not sit in these big companies, comes to movies and television shows and all these platforms to decide what's going to be Black enough and what's not going to be Black enough. Typically, when it comes to mainstream media, they put forth the image of a Black person that they want you to see. Hence, when it was back in the day, the only thing Black people could be on TV for is if we was a maid, if we was a mammy, if we was shucking and jiving. As it evolved, the only time we could be on screen is we had to be light, bright, and damn near white to be on there. And now we are kind of evolving where we have more Black people who now sit in writers' rooms, who now are creators and directors, when it comes to these projects we see. We have so many. It's so many. And more as we progress forward, we are seeing the different diversities when it comes to Black people, because we are not monolithic people. So if I would say Willow isn't feeling the love that she feels she isn't getting from the Black community, but maybe it's not necessarily us. Back to blame the Black community for not embracing you with the type of music and the style, I feel like that's kind of like, that's not fair to us. We love them, so I don't necessarily think that it's us who's not embracing you. Now, from another perspective, we also have to understand that just because we're Black do not mean that we're going to just be able to relate to everything. That's not true. We are not monolithic people. Just because we're Black does not mean that we're going to just enjoy or like or have an interest in whatever a Black person does. That's not necessarily true. So you very well may be Black and make music, but if I'm not into blues or folk music, then I'm probably not gonna listen to your music. Shit, no different if you made action movies and I'm into rom-coms. It's just that we have to understand that we have to be relatable too, and just because we're Black doesn't mean that we're going to be relatable. Black is not synonymous with relatability. You still have to relate. So I can see in many ways where it's a disconnect in relating to the majority of Black people, because in Willow's case, she's, from a rich, wealthy background when it comes to her parents, stays in a certain area in California. You have to understand, when it comes to wealth, Black people don't make a lot of the wealth. I'm sure if you go to Calabasas or any of those rich neighborhoods in California or rich neighborhoods in New York, you're not going to see that many Black families that's in that neighborhood. I'm sure they have certain areas, but it's just not as many areas as they would be if it was a more predominantly white area or a really diverse mixed area. So you have the wealth gap that might kind of separate you from relating to certain Black people who are middle class or lower income families. Start to separate yourself as far as economically with wealth, then you have to look around the people that surround you. You have to take in part with that and not just assume just because we're Black, we're just going to get this abundant support, from a whole Black people just because you Black, At the end of the day, I feel like you have to find your tribe, and you have to put out the energy and project the energy to find the type of people who, are like you, like-minded, You have to put that out there to find those people to be able to nurture, or they help nurture you and you help nurture them. I don't think that just comes just automatically. And not to say that Black people aren't closed-minded when it comes to certain things. I think we are, as I think a lot of people are, because I think it has more to do with traditions and things that you've learned and things that kind of been conditioning your head for over a span of years, and you don't know any better. I feel like we're at the break of where we're breaking generational curses, but I don't like the fact that we're always being blamed for that. I am a true advocate for looking for your own acceptance and stop looking for people to accept you outside of who you are. The Black community shouldn't have to sit in the position of making anybody feel like, oh, well, you're accepted here. That's the whole point. I think the author from the article was saying, like, you putting things on the Black community that honestly aren't in our hands, and we can't make the effect that way. Like, we don't have that ability to affect things that way. Because there's a whole Afro-punk festival. It's a whole Afro-punk festival where they have like this whole concept of just an alternative of the typical traditional stereotypes of what they choose to represent Black people. It's now like we have something that's different from that, and I want to go. I've not been yet. I've seen it for years now, and I want to go one day because I like to just experienced Black people, period. I just see all these different walks of life and representations, because we've been just sold this lie on us being like these typical people that we are not. And I love the fact that we are breaking those barriers down every day. But yeah, it's still a lot of work to do, and unfortunately we have to be honest enough to say that it's a certain way that they want us to be seen, and they feed that to the people. They grasp onto that concept and how things supposed to be. But I don't feel like it's just all up on the Black community, and I do feel like we as people have to kind of take on some acceptance of ourselves and question, do I not feel accepted by the Black community, or is it me feeling insecure and thinking that they won't accept me because I don't feed into the stereotype of what's being represented and put on our screen or in our media every day? I can honestly say, I don't know about nobody else, but the people I'm around and the Black people I know, I've not heard them say any ill will or ill things about Alfonso Ribeiro or Willow Smith. So I don't know who is saying this, Willow, but we ain't shunning you, boo. Now let me tell you what Black people is gonna do now. They gonna laugh at you. They're going to call you on your shit. Now, regardless of who you are, if it's to be called out, oh, they're going to call you out, whether they wrong, right, or indifferent, honey. But, you know, that's some shit with us. But, I mean, y'all tell me what y'all think. Do y'all think that we as Black people are like so closed-minded and shut up? Or do you feel like it's been put out there to condition everybody to feel like, oh, this is who Black people are, this is who Black people represent, and anything outside of that we have a problem with? Y'all tell me y'all thoughts and how y'all feel. I will definitely put the link on the article by XONecole regarding Willow Smith in that link, so y'all can read it and y'all can determine it for yourselves. Thank y'all, and peace and blessings. Leave the comments down below, and I'll check y'all out on the next tip. We get to the point where we're going to show you a